Hi guys, welcome back to Queen G's Recipes, and today I am going to be showing you a classical cheesecake recipe which has actually been in my family for many years. Since my childhood, my mother has been making this cheesecake for us, and now I'm going to show you guys the recipe. So, first of all, I just have the ingredients for the blueberry compote right now, and then I'll show you the ingredients that we'll be needing for each part of the cheesecake as we go along. So right now we'll be needing 2 cups of blueberries or any berries of your choice. We'll also be needing 1/4 cup of sugar, a little sauce pot, and we're also going to be making a slurry. So what I have here is 1 tablespoon of cornstarch and 1 tablespoon of water, which we will be using towards the end of the process for the compote. So let's move on to the next step. Okay, so into our sauce pot, we are going to be putting in our blueberries. We're also going to be putting in our sugar. And now we're just going to take this to our stove top. Okay, so we're going to put our stove top on medium heat, and we're going to be cooking this and keeping an eye on it along the way. So when it starts to bubble, you'll just lower it down to simmer, and you'll continue stirring it as it thickens. And then after about 10 minutes, we'll add in our slurry. So now just give it a quick mix, the sugar and the berries. And then keep an eye on it as you go along and continuously stirring. Okay guys, so my compote has been here on medium heat for exactly 10 minutes and stirring constantly. And as you can see, a lot of the blueberries have already burst and it's nice and saucy. So now we're going to add in our slurry. Now for our slurry, we're going to add in the tablespoon of water that we previously prepared into our tablespoon of cornstarch. And we're going to mix that very well until it has become a paste, like a very creamy paste, pasty looking kind of liquid. And then it liquefies once it's all dissolved. And now we're going to pour this into our compote sauce. And we're going to instantly whisk it along with the cornstarch slurry so that we don't get any lumps in our sauce. Okay, so put in your slurry and stir instantly. And just cook this for about 30 seconds, and you'll notice it instantly becomes thicker. And lower your heat, and then just remove it from the stove, set it aside, and we're gonna let this cool off, and we're gonna work on our cheesecake part of the cheesecake. Okay guys, so now we're going to move on to making the base of our cheesecake. So what you're going to be needing is, first of all, you're going to be needing a springform pan. I'm using a 10-inch, but you can definitely use a 9 or an 8-inch, depending on how thick you want your cheesecake. And under the springform pan, I have some parchment paper and a pan, just in case we get any butter leakage. And so you don't get your oven all dirty and smoky. And for the actual base, we're going to be needing 1.5 cups of graham cracker crumbs. You can also use graham crackers because we're going to be putting this in our food processor anyway. And I also have 2 tablespoons of granulated sugar and 1/4 cup of melted butter. So our cheesecake base and our cheesecake filling will both be made in our food processor, and you don't have to do any cleaning in between. So let's go on to the next step. Okay, so if you're using graham crackers, first of all, put them in the food processor and then chop those up into a fine crumb. But since mine are already in crumbs, we're just going to add everything into the food processor right now. And then we're going to add in our melted butter, all at the same time. And we're going to process this until you have a sandy texture. And I'll let you know what it looks like when I'm there. Along the way, you can just scrape your sides with a spatula and then give it a nice blend again if need be until you have that sandy texture. Okay, so this is what your base should look like. It has a really sandy texture when you touch it. So we are ready to put it in our springform pan. Now make sure that your springform pan is sprayed with a little bit of Pam, or you can just put some butter around the inside of the pan. Either way, it doesn't matter. So let's put in the base of our cheesecake into the pan. Okay, so now with our base, with some clean hands, we can just press it into the bottom of our pan. This is how I like to do it. I find it easier, and I usually like to bring the base up to the sides a bit. You can use a spoon, a spatula, whatever you have on hand. It doesn't really matter. Whatever gets the job done. Okay guys, so now for our filling, we are going to need 2 cups of milk. We're also going to be needing 5 tablespoons of flour. And in here I have 1/8 teaspoon of salt. You'll also need 3/4 a cup of granulated sugar, the rind of 1 lemon, so grate 1 lemon. And you'll also be needing 4 egg yolks, just the yolks, not the whites. And here I have 1 package of cream cheese, a 227 gram package. And I also have here 1 package of cottage cheese, 2%. Now try and get the highest fat content because it will make the cheesecake richer, but definitely more delicious. So right now what I'm gonna do is we're gonna pour all of our ingredients together into our food processor, and we're gonna process everything until it is nice and creamy. Okay, so as I mentioned, I did not wash my fruit processor. I just made sure I had all the crumbs removed onto the base after making it, but definitely if you want to wash it in between, totally up to you. I'm just trying to save you guys a step. So now what I actually usually like to do is put in my cream cheese first and just give that a quick little mix, just to kind of make it nice and creamy before we add everything else. But make sure that your cottage cheese and your cream cheese is left out at room temperature. So let's just give this a quick mix. Okay, so now we have our cream cheese nice and smooth. Now we're just going to add in our remaining ingredients. So our cottage cheese, so then that's it. After our cream cheese, we can just put in our flour and salt, our egg yolks, our sugar, our milk, carefully so it doesn't go everywhere. And then we're going to grate the zest of our lemon. I'm going to pulse my filling mixture, and along the way just clean the sides of your food processor. If you notice anything around the edges, clean it with a spatula, and that's it. Hey guys, now this is definitely optional, but I'm going to add just a little bit of vanilla extract. but you don't have to add it if you don't want to. But as you know, I add in all my baked goods. And then I'm going to give it another mix, and we're ready to pour it into our base. Now make sure you have your oven preheated to 300 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, so now we're going to pour our filling into our base. Now be very careful. It is liquidy, but it is normal. Try not to overmix your batter, because then you will get a lot of air pockets into your cheesecake, and you don't want that. Now typically with any cheesecake, you do have to do a bain-marie so that your cheesecake doesn't crack. But right now it doesn't really matter if we have a crack in our cheesecake or not, because we're going to be putting a topping, so that's really not important for me for this cheesecake. So we're just gonna put it into the oven as it is, and we're going to bake this for about an hour. Just insert a toothpick if you find that it looks cooked and the inner part is just a little bit jiggly, then you know you are ready to go. You're ready to take it out of the oven. It should take about an hour at 300 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay guys, so my cheesecake was in the oven for exactly 1 hour and 15 minutes. And now I'm just gonna let it cool on my counter for half an hour, and I'll show you the next step. Okay guys, so my cheesecake has been resting on my countertop for about half an hour. So right now what we're gonna do is we're going to put our blueberry compote, which is our topping, and we're going to spread it on our cheesecake. And then once this has been spread on our cheesecake, we are going to refrigerate this for at least 4 hours, or overnight is actually ideal. So I'm going to be leaving mine overnight in the fridge, and then we will cut into it in the morning, which for you guys will be in like a minute. So spread your compote and put it in the refrigerator. Now, if you guys don't want to make this compote, or you don't have any berries on hand, you can definitely use a canned pie filling and just put it on the top. But to me, it just isn't the same. But it's totally up to you. You can do whatever you want. Okay guys, so make sure you allow your cheesecake to be very cold before you dig into it. So make sure, as I said, you put it into your fridge for at least 4 hours, or overnight, as I said, is actually the best way to do it. But I'm going to be leaving mine overnight, as I said. But make sure you're not tempted to dig into the cheesecake. I know it's very tempting, but you must wait at least 4 hours, or else the cheesecake will fall apart once you try to cut into it. Okay guys, so my cheesecake was in the fridge overnight, and now we are ready to dig in and cut a piece. So I'm just going to release the pan here. Now make sure before you release your springform pan that you do run a little butter knife around the edges, or even a toothpick gently, just to release the cheesecake from the pan. So here you have it guys, our cheesecake with blueberry compote. Now I do want you guys to know that if you aren't interested in making the compote, you can use whatever topping you like. Like for example, they do have the blueberry, cherry, strawberry pie fillings you can just purchase at your local grocery store. But honestly, the homemade compote makes a huge difference, and the flavor is very natural and just amazing. So now let's just cut into our cheesecake. Okay guys, so here you go. Our cheesecake is ready to eat. And it is super delicious, super creamy. and I'm sure you guys will love this recipe. So I really enjoyed making this video for you guys, and I really hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. So don't forget to subscribe so you can see my future videos, and take care. Thanks for watching. See you in my next video. Bye.